Questions. Friends, today I want to start with a simple question. Have you ever felt like your life has a software update pending? Your phone keeps saying, update available, but internally, questions. Don't you sometimes feel update desperately needed? Because let's be honest, some of us are still running on the emotional software of 2010. So today, questions, I want to share with you 3 things, just 3, that can upgrade your life, your peace, and your direction. Simple, practical, powerful. Let's begin. You see, the mind is like a garden. Questions. If you don't plant the flowers of positivity, the weeds of negativity will grow on their own. One day a young man asked me, why is my life filled with so many problems? I told him gently, questions. My dear friend, life has problems because Google Maps does not show spiritual shortcuts. You must walk through certain experiences to grow. Your mindset is what turns obstacles into opportunities. Questions, pressure into purpose, and pain into progress. Imagine 2 people stuck in traffic. One is banging the steering wheel, shouting at everyone. Questions. And the other is peacefully listening to music and enjoying the AC. Both are stuck, but one is suffering unnecessarily. Your situation doesn't define you. Your mindset does. A wise person once said, questions. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. So improve your mindset. Filter your thoughts like you filter your Instagram feed. Unfollow negativity. Block self-doubt. Mute fear. Questions. And save positivity as your favorite playlist. Friends, remember this, we don't decide our future. We decide our habits, and our habits decide our future. Let me share a small story. Questions. I once met a man who told me, I want to change my life. I asked him, what did you do today to change it? He said, today? Nothing. Questions. But from next Monday, full transformation. And I told him, next Monday is the most dangerous place to store your dreams. Or we live in a world where people want instant coffee. Questions. Instant noodles, but also instant success. My friends, even instant noodles take 2 minutes. Success will take a bit more. Your habits are the daily bricks that build the home of your life. Questions. If the bricks are weak, don't complain that the house is shaking. Start small. Read 10 minutes a day. Walk 15 minutes a day. Meditate 5 minutes a day. Practice gratitude before sleeping. Questions. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. Because a small improvement done daily is better than a massive improvement attempted rarely. Questions. We live in a world where people know how to connect Wi-Fi, but still struggle to connect heart to heart. A boy once told me, sir, I don't understand girls. I said, my dear, questions. You don't even understand yourself. How will you understand someone else? And everyone laughed. But it's true. Relationships, whether with parents, friends, partners, questions, colleagues, can either lift you up or tear you down. If your phone battery is dying, you run for a charger. But when someone's emotional battery is dying, we say, stop overthinking. Why? Questions. Because we have become experts at using people and amateurs at loving people. If you want to improve your relationships, learn 3 things. 1. Listen more. People don't need solutions. Questions. Sometimes they just need space. 2. Appreciate often. A simple thank you can be more powerful than a motivational seminar. 3. Forgive quickly. The one who forgives sleeps better, laughs easier, questions, and lives longer. Relationships are not Wi-Fi connections. You cannot just forget network. When something goes wrong, you have to repair, reconnect, and rebuild. Remember, questions. Happy relationships don't happen by accident. They happen by intention. If you improve your mindset, you will learn how to think. If you improve your habits, you will learn how to act. Questions. If you improve your relationships, you will learn how to live. And if all 3 improve, your life won't just get better. It will transform. So my friends, questions. Today I want you to walk out with one simple resolution. Every day I will grow a little. Just one small step. You don't need a perfect life. You need progress. Questions. And progress begins with a choice. Choose growth, choose gratitude, choose improvement. Because when you improve everything in your life, your peace, your happiness, questions, your purpose improves automatically. Thank you so much. May you grow, glow, and go forward with positivity. Questions. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world, and the lens is often more powerful than the landscape. Two people can stand in the same situation, experience the same challenge, questions, face the same difficulty, yet one will rise and the other will collapse. Not because of circumstances, but because of mindset. Think about your alarm clock. Early morning, it rings loudly. Questions. For one person, that alarm is an enemy. Ooh, not again. For another, it's a reminder. Oh, a new chance, a fresh day. Same alarm, same sound, same time. Questions. But two completely different mindsets. Every day, life presents us with situations that we cannot always control. But our mindset, that is always in our hands. Let's take a daily life example. Questions. Imagine you walk into your kitchen early in the morning and you find the milk packet has leaked inside the fridge. The natural reaction might be annoyance. Questions. Why does this always happen to me? But pause for a moment. You are upset, not because of the milk, but because of your mindset. The situation is tiny, but the reaction is huge. Questions. Now imagine another person who sees the same spilled milk and simply smiles. Well, at least I found it early. Could have been worse. They clean it up calmly, hum a song, questions, and proceed with their day. This is not about positive thinking. It's about powerful thinking. It's about training your mind to respond instead of react. Questions. Your mindset determines whether challenges become stepping stones or stumbling blocks. Let's take the example of traffic. You're stuck, horns are blaring, people are cutting lanes. Questions. You can either sit there exploding internally, or you can choose to breathe, put on your favorite music, call it me time, and stay composed. The traffic doesn't change, but you do. Questions. And that changes everything. Here's another example. Think of workplace stress. A colleague criticizes your project. For one person, this becomes an emotional earthquake. Questions. I'm not good enough. Why did they speak to me like that? For another, this becomes an opportunity. Let me see if there's something I can improve. Questions. Maybe this feedback will help me grow. Notice the difference. One mindset breaks you. The other mindset builds you. Questions. Mindset is not about ignoring reality. It's about interpreting reality in a way that empowers you instead of weakening you. I remember a story of a man who lost his job. Questions. When people asked how he was handling it, he said, I didn't lose my job. I gained an opportunity to build something new. Someone else in the same situation might have said, questions. My life is over. Same situation, different mindset. One ends up defeated. The other discovers a breakthrough. Our life doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes the people we trust disappoint us. Questions. Sometimes opportunities slip away. Sometimes unexpected problems come in like uninvited guests. But your mindset decides whether these challenges will be your teachers or your tormentors. Questions. Let me give you a simple daily example. Imagine you are carrying a cup of coffee and someone accidentally bumps into you. The coffee spills. Naturally, you feel annoyed. Questions. But think deeply. The coffee spilled because what was inside the cup. If tea was inside, tea would have spilled. Whatever is inside you will spill when life shakes you. If stress is inside, question, stress spills. If anger is inside, anger spills. If calmness is inside, calmness spills. This is mindset. Mindset is not about life being easy. It's about you becoming strong. Questions. If you wake up expecting the world to treat you kindly every day, you will be disappointed. But if you wake up with a mindset that says, questions, no matter what comes today, I will handle it, life becomes easier. Not because the problems disappear, but because you become bigger than your problems. Think of a glass of water. Questions. Holding it for a minute feels fine. Holding it for an hour makes your arm ache. Holding it all day becomes unbearable. The weight doesn't change. Questions. Your mindset toward the weight determines your experience. Instead of holding on to stress the whole day, put the glass down occasionally. Reset your mindset. Breathe. Restart. Questions. Imagine a person walking through rain. One complains, "Why is it raining today? My clothes will get wet." Another says, "The plants will be happy today." Questions. Let me enjoy this shower from nature. The rain is the same, but the experience is not. Mindset is the difference. Every challenge becomes easier when you approach it with clarity instead of chaos. Questions. Every insult loses its power when your self-worth comes from within. Every mistake becomes a lesson when your mindset is open to growth. Questions. So the next time life throws a situation at you, whether it's spilled milk, heavy traffic, a rude message, or a sudden challenge, pause and ask yourself questions. Is the problem big, or is my mindset making it big? If you strengthen your mindset, you strengthen your life. Because circumstances do not define your happiness. Your mindset does. Questions. Your life today is the sum of the small decisions you made yesterday, last week, last month, and even last year. We often think life changes with one big moment. A promotion, a miracle. Questions. A lucky chance, a sudden turning point. But in reality, life changes slowly, quietly, and consistently through the habits we choose every single day. Just look at your morning routine. For some people, questions. The alarm rings and they jump out of bed like a committed warrior. For others, questions. The alarm rings and they negotiate with it. 5 minutes more, I promise this is the last time. But here's the truth, your day doesn't start with the alarm. It starts with your habit. Questions. Because your habit decides whether you rise or remain stuck. Habits shape your identity. Habits build your character. Habits silently guide your life, even when you are not paying attention. Questions. Let me give you a simple example. Imagine someone who wants to get fitter. On day 1, they jog for 30 minutes, totally pumped up. Day 2, they jog for 20 minutes. Day 3, they jog for 10 minutes. Questions. Day 4, they say, "You know what, let me take a break today." Day 5, "I'll continue next Monday." And Monday never comes. This is the difference between intensity and consistency. Questions. Intensity feels exciting. Consistency feels boring. But intensity gives you a moment of motivation. Consistency gives you a lifetime of transformation. Think of brushing your teeth. Questions. It takes 2 minutes. We do it every day. Not because one brushing session will make your teeth perfect, but because the habit keeps your teeth healthy in the long run. The power is in repetition. Questions. Not in drama. Habits don't have to be big, glamorous, or impressive. They just have to be consistent. Let me give you another real life comparison. Questions. Imagine a tiny drop of water falling on a rock every second. One drop does nothing. 10 drops do nothing. But keep dropping water consistently, and over years. Questions. That soft water will carve a hole into the hard rock. That is the strength of steady habits. They slowly do what intense force cannot. Just like that, small habits build big futures. Questions. Let's take a daily life example of money. Think of someone who saves 220 or 1 euro every day. It looks silly, it looks too small to matter. But over a year, questions, that becomes a few $100s. Over a decade, it becomes thousands. Over a lifetime, it becomes wealth. Consistency quietly builds what intensity cannot. The same applies to learning. Questions. Reading 5 pages a day looks like nothing. But in a year, that's around 1,800 pages. Almost 4 to 6 books. That's more than many people read in a lifetime. Again, the habit looks small. Questions. But the growth is massive. Now let's talk about a bad habit, procrastination. This is the habit of delaying today's work for tomorrow, then tomorrow for the day after. Questions. And eventually pushing life itself into the later folder. Little by little, the habit grows. And one day, a person realizes that instead of living their dreams, questions, they have only been planning to live their dreams. Habits can build your future or quietly steal it. It all depends on what you repeat. Let me share a simple story. Questions. There was a man who wanted to be calmer. Every morning, he said, I will meditate for 30 minutes. But every morning, he got busy with work, phone calls, emails, messages, and worries. Questions. So he finally decided something new. I will meditate for just 1 minute. 1 minute felt like nothing. But day 1, he did it. Day 2, he did it. Day 3, he did it again. Slowly, questions. 1 minute became 2, then 5, then 10. In a few months, he became a calmer, wiser version of himself, all because of a tiny habit done consistently. Small, consistent habits beat big questions, inconsistent efforts every single time. Let's look at a very relatable example: cleanliness. Suppose you throw your clothes on a chair every day. One day, questions, that chair will disappear under a mountain of t-shirts. But if you build a habit of folding or hanging clothes immediately, your room always stays peaceful, organized, and stress-free. Tiny habit. Questions. Big effect. Your habits influence not only your surroundings but also your emotions. A person who practices gratitude every night will sleep peacefully. Questions. A person who complains every night will sleep restlessly. Same bed, same room, same life. Different habit. If you want confidence, build the habit of preparation. If you want health, questions, build the habit of movement. If you want inner peace, build the habit of reflection. If you want progress, build the habit of discipline. The future doesn't show up suddenly. Questions. It grows slowly through routines. It is shaped quietly by the simple things you do daily. And remember, perfection is not required. Perfection is a trap. The moment you try to be perfect, you freeze, questions, hesitate, and stop taking action. But consistency allows you to make mistakes, learn, adjust, and grow steadily. It's better to walk 10 steps every day than to run 1 kilometer once and stop. Questions. Life rewards the discipline, not the dramatic. So ask yourself, what small habit can I start today that my future self will thank me for? Because your destiny is not written by one decision. Questions. It is written by the repeated ink strokes of your everyday habits. Questions. Relationships are not just a part of life, they are life. Everything we do, every dream we chase, every success we celebrate, every sorrow we endure somewhere, someone is connected to it. Questions. A message we receive can make our day. A harsh word can ruin our mood. A small gesture can melt our stress. Relationships have the power to shape our happiness, and yet we often take them for granted. Questions. Think of the people you live with, your family. Every morning you see them, but how often do you pause and truly look at them? Questions. We get so busy living with people that we sometimes forget to live for them. You wake up, rush for work, grab your breakfast, say a quick goodbye, and leave. But a warm smile, questions, a gentle take care, a heartfelt thank you could change the entire energy of your home. Relationships don't require grand gifts, they require genuine presence. Questions. Let's take an example from everyday life. Imagine you come home tired after a long day. You quietly place your bag down, slump on the couch, and open your phone. But a friend calls you and asks questions. Are you okay? Suddenly, your exhaustion feels lighter. You didn't get a salary raise. You didn't win a lottery. Questions. But the simple feeling that someone cared enough to check in lifts your entire heart. That's the magic of relationships. But this magic doesn't happen automatically. It requires nurturing. Questions. Just like a plant needs sunlight, water, and care, relationships need communication, appreciation, patience, and forgiveness. Let me share a small daily life example. A husband comes home tired. Questions. The wife is also tired after managing work and home. Both are exhausted, both want peace. But instead of understanding each other, they argue about the food, about the day. Questions. about something small and silly, not because they don't love each other, but because fatigue has replaced empathy. Now imagine the same situation with just one small shift in mindset. Questions. The husband enters and says, "It looks like you've had a tough day. Can I help with something?" The wife replies, "You must be exhausted too. Sit for a minute, I'll get tea." Suddenly, questions. The same home feels like heaven instead of a battleground. This is not a fairy tale. This is real, practical, everyday life. Questions. Relationships improve not by doing big things once, but by doing small things consistently. Think of friendship. A friend is not someone who remembers you on your birthday with a long message. Questions. But someone who remembers you on your difficult days with a short message. Questions. I am here. You will notice that the people you value the most are not the ones who entertained you, but the ones who understood you. In a world full of busy schedules, emotional distances, questions, and endless distractions, connection has become rare. Today, people spend hours scrolling through strangers' lives online, but forget to check on the people who actually matter offline. Questions. Let me give you another daily example. When you eat dinner, how often do you eat together with your family? And even if you sit together, questions. How often is everyone looking at their screen instead of each other? A family shared under one roof, but divided by 4 mobile screens. This has become the reality of many households. Questions. We have connected to the world but disconnected from the world inside our home. Relationships are not Wi-Fi networks. You cannot disconnect every time there is a minor issue. Questions. They are more like musical instruments. You need to tune them regularly. They may not always sound perfect, but with patience, communication, and effort, they create a melody. Questions. And when conflicts arise, and they will, remember winning the argument is not greater than saving the relationship. Sometimes choosing peace is wiser than choosing ego. Questions. Let's say you had an argument with a close friend. Hours pass, you both cool down. Now the question is, who will message first? And most of the time, ego whispers. Questions. Why should I text first? But love whispers, just message. You're losing time, not pride. Ego delays. Love heals. Questions. Imagine if people stopped keeping score of who apologized last. How many relationships would still be alive today? Another important aspect is appreciation. Questions. Appreciation is the sunlight that relationships need to grow. But most of the time, we only notice what people do wrong. Rarely do we appreciate what they do right. Your mother cooks every day. Questions. But you appreciate it only when she's not home. Your father pays bills every month, but you notice it only when something goes wrong. Your partner supports you silently. Questions. But you acknowledge it only when you feel alone. Your friend listens to your problems, but you thank them only when they stop calling. Why do we wait for absence to appreciate presence? Questions. Try this simple practice every day. Appreciate just one person. Not for something big, even for something small. You will see your relationships transform. Forgiveness is another crucial ingredient. Questions. Not because others deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Holding grudges is like holding burning coal. It burns you more than anyone else. Sometimes people hurt us unintentionally. Questions. Sometimes we hurt others without realizing. But forgiveness softens hearts and strengthens bonds. It helps us move forward with love, not bitterness. Relationships are like mirrors. Questions. The energy you give is the energy you receive. If you give anger, you get anger. If you give love, you get love. If you give understanding, you get understanding. And at the end of the day, remember. Questions. When you look back at your life in your final days, you won't care about the cars you bought, the money you earned, or the awards you won. You will remember the people who laughed with you. Questions. Cried with you, supported you, and loved you. The quality of your life will always be determined by the quality of your relationships. So invest in them, not with money, But with time, love, patience, questions, and presence, take care of the people you love, nurture them, value them. Because in the end, relationships are the true wealth of life. Questions. Every great life, every great achievement, every great transformation is built not on dramatic moments, but on simple, repeated habits. Questions. Yet most people wait for the perfect time, the perfect inspiration, the perfect plan, or the perfect motivation before they start. And in that waiting, precious years pass by. Questions. We don't need perfection. We need consistency. Let's begin with a simple daily example. Imagine a person who wants to begin reading. They buy books, decorate a bookshelf, questions, even watch motivational videos about the importance of reading. But when it comes to actually starting, they think, not now, I'm too tired. I'll start on Sunday. Sunday comes, Sunday goes. Questions. Motivation fades and the book remains untouched. They prepared so much for the big beginning that they never actually began. Now imagine another person who doesn't think too much. Questions. They simply decide to read just one page a day. One page looks small, almost laughable. But that one page becomes 2, then 5, 10. In a year, they finish multiple books. Questions. Not because they tried harder, but because they started smaller. That is the power of consistency. Life changes through what you do repeatedly, not occasionally. Let's take the example of fitness. Questions. Most people start their fitness journey with tremendous enthusiasm. On day 1, they do 50 push-ups, run 3 kilometers, and proudly post it on social media. On day 2, they are sore. On day 3, questions. They are tired. On day 4, their mind says, skip today. And the journey ends before it even begins. But the person who decides to walk just 10 minutes daily ends up building a habit. Questions. And over time, 10 minutes becomes 20, then 30, and eventually fitness becomes a lifestyle, not a challenge. Small, steady habits always outperform big, inconsistent efforts. Questions. Think about brushing your teeth. Nobody brushes for an hour once a month. We brush for 2 minutes every day. Why? Because consistency keeps your teeth healthy. That is the logic of life. Questions. The things you do regularly bring real change. But habits don't just change your actions, they change your identity. A person who reads regularly slowly becomes a reader. Questions. A person who exercises daily becomes someone who values health. A person who meditates regularly becomes calmer and centered. A person who saves money consistently becomes financially wise. Questions. Identity grows from repetition. Let's take another daily life example. Keeping your room clean. If you throw your clothes on the chair every day, questions. One day that chair will disappear under a mountain of fabric. But if you fold your clothes immediately each time, your room stays neat, your mind stays peaceful, and your life stays organized. Questions. The difference lies in a habit that takes just 30 seconds. Another example, imagine a student who studies only during exam season. They panic, stress out, and try to cover everything in a week. Questions. Now compare that with a student who studies 15 minutes a day. They don't panic, they don't stress, they don't rush. When exams come, they're already ready. Not because they are smarter, questions, but because they were consistent. Consistency is the silent force behind confidence. Now let's talk about emotional habits. Many people believe emotions come randomly. Questions. But a lot of emotional stability comes from consistent practices like gratitude, reflection, deep breathing, or journaling. Questions. A person who spends 5 minutes every night writing what went well their day gradually becomes more positive. Not because life dramatically changed, but because their lens changed. Questions. Their heart learned to focus on blessings instead of burdens. That's the magic of habitual thinking. Even spirituality is a matter of habit. Questions. You don't become peaceful by listening to a spiritual talk once. You become peaceful by regularly practicing calmness, self-awareness, and compassion. Questions. Inner transformation always grows through repeated effort. But here's the biggest enemy of habits: perfection. Perfection says, if you can't do it perfectly, questions, don't do it at all. But consistency whispers, do it imperfectly, but do it anyway. Let's say someone wants to start meditation. They sit down, try for a few minutes, get distracted, questions, and immediately think, this isn't working. I can't focus. Questions, I'll try when my mind is better. But the reality is that the mind becomes better because of the habit of practicing focus, not before it. Perfection demands success. Consistency builds success. Questions, think of watering a plant. If you pour a bucket of water on it once a month, it will die. But if you water it lightly every day, it will grow beautifully. Your mind, your body, your character, questions, your relationships, everything works this way. Truly successful people are not the ones who make huge efforts once. They are the ones who make small efforts every day. And the beauty is, questions, habits don't ask for talent. Habits don't ask for luck. Habits don't ask for ideal conditions. Habits ask for only one thing: commitment to small steps. So today, don't aim for perfection. Questions, aim for consistency, aim for progress. Aim for tiny improvements that feel easy enough to repeat. Because long-term change isn't created by big decisions. Questions, it is created by small habits followed regularly. Your future is quietly shaped by what you do daily, not occasionally. Build habits that match the future you dream of, and one day, questions, that future will become your reality. Questions, every big transformation in life begins with something very small, so small that most people ignore it. In a world where everyone is chasing big results, big goals, big dreams, and big achievements, questions, we forget that the secret to all greatness lies in small, steady improvements. We tell ourselves, from tomorrow everything will change. But tomorrow comes quietly, questions, and our life continues exactly the same way. That's because big promises excite us, but small improvements actually change us. Imagine someone decides, from next Monday I will wake up at 5 a.m. Questions, meditate for 1 hour, exercise for 45 minutes, read a motivational book, drink only healthy juices, and avoid social media. It sounds wonderful, inspirational, energetic. Questions, but let's be honest, the next Monday arrives and the plan collapses before breakfast. Not because the person is weak, but because the promise was too big, too sudden, and too unrealistic. Questions, life improves not when you take giant leaps once in a while, but when you take small steps every single day. Let's take a daily life example. Suppose you want to clean your room. Instead of saying, questions, I will clean the entire room today perfectly, just start with one small corner, your table. Clean it for 5 minutes. When that becomes a habit, move to another small section. In a week, questions, your room transforms. In a month, your habits transform. And in a few months, your mindset transforms. All because of a 5-minute daily decision. This is the power of small improvements. Questions, think of learning a new skill. Imagine someone saying, we want to learn guitar, and they buy an expensive guitar, a fancy stand, a tuner, a training app, questions, and even new clothes to look like a musician. But they never touch the strings with consistency. Another person with an old guitar and 10 minutes a day becomes a better player within a few months. Questions, not because of talent, not because of resources, but because of small daily practice. Small improvements beat big intentions. Let's take an example everyone can relate to. Health. We often say, questions, from tomorrow I will never eat junk food again. And then within 2 days, fries magically return to our plate. Why? Because we tried to jump too high too fast. Instead of removing all junk. Questions, what if you simply replaced one unhealthy item a day? Replace a sugary drink with water. Replace a fried snack with a fruit. Replace late night binge eating with a small, early dinner. Questions, these small shifts create big changes over time. And the best part, small improvements don't overwhelm you. They don't demand perfection. They don't drain your energy. Questions. They gently move you forward without you even noticing how much progress you've made. Let's talk about relationships. Most people wait for special occasions, birthdays, anniversaries, questions, festivals to express love. But everyday gestures matter much more. A simple, "How was your day?" can make someone feel seen. A gentle, "Take care," can melt stress. Questions. A short, "Thank you for everything you do," can heal tired hearts. One small expression of love repeated daily creates deeper bonds than big celebrations done occasionally. Even in work. Questions. Small improvements matter. Consider improving your skills by just learning one new thing daily. A new shortcut on your computer, a new word, a new idea, a new technique. Over time. Questions. These small learnings turn into mastery. Meanwhile, someone who waits for a perfect course or a big breakthrough remains stuck. Let me share a simple story that reflects this beautifully. Questions. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon. He bought running shoes, fitness gear, and even designed a perfect schedule. But the first day he tried running. Questions. He became exhausted within minutes and gave up. Another man decided he would simply walk around his house every morning for 5 minutes. After a week, he increased it to 10 minutes. After a month, questions, he started jogging slowly. After a year, he completed a marathon, not because he was strong, but because he improved just a little every day. Life rewards those who grow gently. Questions, not those who plan dramatically. Here's another relatable example: saving money. People often say, "From next month, I'll start saving half my salary." But expenses rise, emergencies appear. Questions, and this promise breaks. Instead, saving small amounts daily, to 10, 150, 100, whatever you can, develops the habit of saving. Small savings lead to financial discipline. Questions. Financial discipline leads to financial growth. Financial growth leads to financial confidence. Every small step becomes a building block for the future. Questions. Many people underestimate small improvements because they don't see instant results. But think about boiling water. At 99 easy C, it is still water. But one extra degree, just one, and the water boils. Questions. Creating steam powerful enough to move trains. That last degree of change was invisible to the eye but made all the difference. That is how small improvements work. They may look insignificant. Questions, but over time they create extraordinary results. Even emotionally, small steps bring huge healing. If you take 1 minute daily to breathe deeply, 1 minute to reflect, 1 minute to appreciate life. Questions. 1 minute to forgive, 1 minute to be grateful, your inner world transforms. 5 minutes a day can bring peace that years of worry could not. Small improvements don't just change your actions. Questions. They change your identity. They teach you discipline. They build self-respect. They create momentum. And most importantly, they keep you moving. Because movement, no matter how small, questions, is always better than stagnation. So instead of waiting for the perfect day, start today. Start small. Start simple. Start now. Because small daily improvements may look ordinary today, but tomorrow, questions, they will lead you to an extraordinary life.